Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente, Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. Tonight we have The Gallery of Henri Beauchamp. So, The Gallery of Henri Beauchamp is by W-Antennastoheaven. Sorry, W-Antennastoheaven. And they, at least they're the poster on Creepypasta.wikia. This is also on Reddit No Sleep, and it's been around for about 9 years. So
we're hopping on the ball real quick.
Yeah. Also, this is a ritual pasta, so huzzah! It's been a while since we've done a ritual pasta, so I figured we'd do it.
Yeah.
So we'll just dive into the rundown for this one. So a ritual pasta where you go to a certain bar in Paris when a certain bartender is in and answer absinthe when asked what you'll have. This is to access a special art gallery to one Henri Beauchamp. This questioning could be lethal if you don't answer correctly. Upon imbibing and following some instructions, the bar will become completely dark, and the people within it, like the bartender and all the other patrons of the bar, will vanish, and green lights will spotlight a elevator door off to the side. A green fairy lady is in the elevator and takes you up to the gallery, assuming you followed the steps correctly. Otherwise, it's down to the pits of hell with you. There's a chance the green lady will also give you a kiss, enchanting you with great artistic inspiration. But this doesn't always happen, and you mustn't force it. Up at the gallery, it is a turn-of-the-century parlor with 6 paintings on one side, 6 paintings on the other, and a 13th painting at the end. These paintings are Henri's last and special pieces, as they were made after he gutted several women and painted them with the blood and bile before committing suicide in the 1920s. The 6 on the left show sequences of good things, the genesis of the universe, the only true visage of God as viewable to the eyes of man, the true image of Jesus Christ, the sprawling clouds of heaven, every pope from the first to faces...
From the first to faces that are not yet recognized.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. From the first
I just happen to know that without even looking at it.
Yeah. From the first 2 faces not yet recognized, and a portrait of Jesus' appearance in his second coming. The 6 on the right are not so good things. The cataclysm of the universe, the only true visage of Satan as viewable to the eyes of man, the true image of Judas, the sprawling flames of hell, every human embodied demon from the first to the faces not yet recognized, and a portrait of the Antichrist in his second coming. And the 13th is turned to face the wall it is hanging on. For it is supposedly the flayed flesh of Henri that he himself inflicted upon himself to use as a medium for the final piece. There's a wide perimeter around this painting, like those little doily, or like those
velvet rope.
Yeah, the velvet rope things. Yeah. And there's a sign underneath the painting in 3 languages: the script of the script of the seraphim, the runes of demons, and Roman letters. And they say, "Do not touch." The narrator then asks if you, the reader or follower of the ritual, will tell him what it looks like if you ever make it that far, perhaps over a drink. And that is the end of the ritual pasta. So, on to everyone tolerates the Ground Inquisitions at this point. I have one thing. You'll be asked in clear and perfect English, what would like to partake of this glorious night? All right. I know it's the way the person talks.
No, it's not, because it is. It's in clear, perfect English. It says specifically.
That's why, but it contradicts it. So I'm contradicting it because it needs a fix. Because of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just missing, what would you like to partake of this glorious night? Especially when you say, you'll be asked in clear and perfect English.
It's the one line that had to be perfect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's the one thing that had something in it.
And that's my grammar acquisition. So, Mikey, did you find anything?
I got some front butts, a front and, a front so, a front or, and one it.
Damn. Do we even do and now, an it story or conjunction junction?
I don't know what this is.
And now for a terrible abomination by Mikey. The E stands for evil. Take it away.
They just start screaming for 5 minutes.
Yeah. It's just Candle Cove.
But to get in, you have to prove you're a devotee of the artist. But before you even recognize it, the elevator will reach the top of its, well, let's call it a shaft and not get too intricate. Or you can go on. And, of course, an unmarked bottle, stripped long ago of its label, scraps of paper sticking to its sides, covered in the rot of decades past. It will fit perfectly and reach the end of the keyhole with a resounding click. But what of the 13th? So, if you make it, maybe you can flip the canvas over and tell me sometime?
Okay.
It was a trip because it was going back and forth through the story.
Okay. Is that it for your grammar position? Do you have anything else?
That's it for my grammar position.
Okay.
Cool.
Gamer, do you have anything?
On to you. Because I don't have any.
On to action thoughts.
Because I read over that one somehow.
What, the perfect English?
Yes, I read over the perfect English in perfect English.
Yes. I mean, really, it's just perfect caveman English. It's basically just that guy from Nebraska. It's you do what with me?
Yeah.
I think that was Rasco, where he kept coming. Yeah, what was his caveman name? Sam or something like that? No, Sam was the main character. His
Clark?
No, that's from I Dared My Best Friend to Ruin My Life. It was caveman. Yeah, I don't know. It was a K. It starts with a K because Kelly is the girl, and in Nebraska, it's discovered that their sister and brother.
Was it a bunch of K's?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Keith?
Maybe?
Kevin? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It's Kyle.
Maybe?
Yeah, it was Kyle. Yeah. Anyway, back to the gallery of Henri Beauchamp. So, actual thoughts. Here we go with my first quote. If you ask for any other absinthe in any other way, you will be plagued by nightmares for 13 days. Each night's dream will be more horrible than the last, until, upon the 13th dream, your nightmare will follow you every moment of your waking and sleeping life. You know, ritual pastas really shouldn't start off contrary. You'll be plagued by nightmares for 13 days, but then after that last nightmare will haunt you for the rest of your life.
It's not specifically a nightmare anymore. Because
really?
It's not only when you're sleeping, it's all the time.
Waking and sleeping life. So you're still going to have it every while you're sleeping as well, but it's also apparently affecting you in your waking life.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just what? You have I guess 13 different nightmares that get worse and worse until the 13th one, and then that one sticks for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of confusing wording for that. And then there's this part.
So was that a grammar thing?
No, that was just me picking at the I mean, I guess it could be technically a grammar, but it was more just a. it was more of like a like wording for like the ritual.
Would you have changed the wording to clarify?
Fuck, I would. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that was my last grammar revision.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now on to actual thoughts again.
Yeah. On to actual thoughts. You will also receive a very, very, very special absinthe spoon in the shape of a key. The holes at the key's top serve as the training point for the alcohol to pour over the sugar cube. I had to Google this. Holy shit, absinthe spoons are a thing.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Admittedly, I've never tried absinthe and was not familiar with customs or etiquette of imbibing it outside of the stories of seeing a green fairy while drinking it, which apparently is not actually a super like realistic thing. Like apparently, like people think that absinthe is hallucinogenic, but really it's just because there's some of the early versions of it had trace amounts of wormwood, which is a hallucinogenic.
Mm.
And so, yeah, like, and more on the green fairy lady thing in a moment. But yeah, I learned something today about alcohol and absinthe.
Yeah.
Because I was like, they were going into this detail with this special spoon. I was like, what? Is this absinthe spoon? Holy shit. And like, if you Google absinthe spoon, like, yeah, it's exactly like that, basically. Like, they come in different, like, designs and shit like that. So, moving right along. Inside is a small elevator with the most beautiful woman any mortal eyes can imagine, bathed in the green glow in just such an angle that the light refracts beyond her into the shape of wings. The green fairy herself will ask you, going up? And considering all the trouble you went through, it would only make sense to say yes. Ha! Get it? Because he just had absinthe, and there's a green fairy lady in the next sequence. Admittedly, I actually really like that imagery for the connection between absinthe and like the green lady and like the artistic thing. Doing a little bit further digging into absinthe online, like when I was doing my initial Google search on absinthe spoons, I looked up absinthe as it is. It appears that it has further connection with artists of Paris, specifically one famous artist, Van Gogh. As it is rumored that he was on absinthe when he cut off his own ear and gave it to a prostitute he knew. Also, as an aside, he was also suffering from depression and mental illness, hearing voices and such, and that's why he cut off his ear. So that's probably didn't help matters on that whole thing. But yeah, so Van Gogh was an imbiber of absinthe, and it's also a common alcohol for artists at the time. So. I appreciate it. Bottom line is I appreciated the link to the artistic realm that this ritual pasta was trying to invoke. So,
yeah, it's not like they just picked a random alcohol.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It'd be like if this ritual pasta was trying to invoke something of Edgar Allan Poe and choosing the whiskey that he really liked to drink at the certain bar, like there's an actual bar in Boston or wherever he was living that still like puts one out for Poe. Mm-hmm. Like on the day of his death, because it was the alcohol that he drank. Like he'd come in and drink specifically, and it was the last thing he did before he died. Mm-hmm. Like he went into the bar, had a drink, and then went out and died. Like that night.
Oh shit!
Yeah. So, yeah. Bottom line, it was appropriate links with the green lady and and also just the. Bathing the woman in like green light to make it look like she was a fairy. It's like, I see. It's like imagery. It's symbolism. Anyways, moving on.
Wasn't she actually?
I mean, no.
She had wings.
Well, yeah, no. The light refracted in such a way that it made it look like there was an illusion of wings behind her, but she may not have actually had wings.
Oh, did she?
Maybe. It is apparently this is all supernatural because if you don't answer correctly, you go straight to the bowels of hell.
Yeah, because of all the weirdness up to this point, I was totally. It made sense for it to be an actual fairy, even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. So moving on to the next one. Now, I'm not as sure about this as the rest, but I've heard that if the green lady kisses you on the cheek as she leaves the elevator, you will always be blessed with a creative inspiration, a permanent, ever-changing muse. You can't ask her. You can't kiss her. She has to do it of her own volition. It's nice to know that the eldritch horrors of aspiring artists are pro-consent.
Yep.
Like, I kind of really like that touch. It's like, it's kind of like in fair, like, don't fucking, like, push your luck, or don't, like,
Yeah.
Don't be creepy. Let the Eldritch Abomination be creepy for you. And then I have a kitchen segment, but do I want to save that? Should I save that for after you guys?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Then moving on to Mikey. D stands for you.
Alright. So, as a ritual pasta, it was enjoyable because of the way it was written.
Wow, just diving right into the final thoughts.
A little bit.
Like, just gotta say, like most ritual pastas that we've done have been do this, do that, do this, and there's no real any story or really.
This one. Sorry, not to.
And then explaining why you would do the things.
Yeah, like not to. I wasn't meaning to cut you off, but yeah, I kind of have a similar thought where it's like almost felt like I was reading a completed version of like a choose your own adventure book. Like you do this and you get this outcome because you didn't die, basically.
Yeah. And my thought on the last painting is it's a self-portrait where the artist is sprawled out in the pose of drawing like one of your French girls.
Yeah. Also, it's a self-portrait because it's made from himself.
Yep.
Yeah,
it really is.
Bum, bum, ba-dum, bum.
It's not necessarily a portrait because we don't even know.
Yeah, no, we don't. Yeah, it's meant to be like it's meant to like it could honestly just be a flesh fractal, just like because he was huge into fractals up until this point in his art career. So like he might just like use his own flesh to make like weird like recursive imagery.
Yeah, and I found it interesting how they use the alcohol as like sort of the gateway.
Yeah,
because as soon as you drink it, then everyone else disappears.
It's literally a gateway drug. To art. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, again, it's very appropriate for the artistic times of the 1920s of like what like this ritual is harkening back to because a lot of artists back in those days, like the surrealists and stuff, used alcohol and drugs to basically get inspired and to like come up with some of the weird shit they had.
Yeah. And one thing that I didn't really care for was just the using, like, he suddenly kidnaps 3 young girls and murders them.
I mean, that's a cultist. That's just straight up. That's a murderous cultist, so that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense, but it's like, well, I mean, you could have just said it was made from blood or whatever. You don't need the full details. Made from the blood of innocents.
Yeah. Like, agree to disagree, but I thought
so. Normally, when you want to
know
less, you're okay with knowing more now.
I'm just like this. Like I don't. Yeah, I'm fine with it. Like whatever. Crazy cultist murders people.
All right. See what it's about.
But less is more.
Not always. Sometimes.
When it's something we don't agree with.
Yes, clearly.
Okay, that makes sense. I was confused until this point.
Only at this point?
Yeah.
I will kill you.
He is a ninja after all.
That's true.
Anyway, on that note, onwards to the ninja thoughts.
All right. Now that he's dealt with, all right. Oh, hang on.
There we go. Anyway, put in that Eldritch insurance.
Oh, that's helpful.
Yeah.
So anyways, my first note is essentially just to the fact that there's apparently a bartender on staff at this bar that's serving people poison.
No, well, absinthe is straight up a poison, actually.
No, if you don't do everything correctly, you die.
Well,
so every single time that this guy is working, every single person that comes in dies.
I think
unless you do it this way.
I think what is maybe it should have something a little bit extra, but I think it should say that like this only happens like he only attempts to poison the person that's looking for the gallery. Specifically, because otherwise, but
you don't come in saying that you're looking for that.
No, you just come in and just like you're waiting for him to show up. Yeah, unless he just like he's like again like it's supernatural and like there's another guy on the set, but like at a certain time of night, there's suddenly another guy there too, and that's the one you want to talk to.
I don't know. The way it goes is you walk into this specific bar.
Everyone's dead.
If you don't ask for absinthe, anything you drink, you die.
Yeah. He walks in, like, what we're not getting is that, like, the guy walks in at that particular night and that particular time, and everyone else is just like on their tables, like, out and dead.
Totally.
Like, just, like, face on the table.
Yep. The cops aren't doing anything about it.
No, because it's some obscure Parisian bar in like a hidden alleyway.
Yeah, I just thought that was weird.
Yeah, it is kind of weird.
And then about the way that the story's laid out itself, it's kind of the closest thing I've felt that I've read that's closest to a Dragon's Lair playthrough.
Right?
Because in the game, you're put in a situation and you have to do the right button presses or you die. And then the next situation comes up. In this story, you're put in a situation, you have to say the right things or you die, and then the next situation comes up.
Yeah.
It's pretty much Dragon's Lair playthrough.
It's kind of ritual passes, though, like, generally, too.
Like, well, yes and no, because most rituals that, at least I've read on the show, it's like, this is what you have to do. Done. There's no repercussions to each step.
Wait, were you with us when we did 11 Miles?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, 11 Miles had one where it was like basically that. It was kind of like that as well.
Oh, okay. But for me, at least, this is the first one where it tells you the repercussions of every single one.
Yeah.
So it's like watching a Dragon's Lair playthrough and seeing every way that Dirk can die at every turn as well.
Yeah. God, now I kind of just want to see a Dragon's Lair version type of game. With this.
Yeah, with this.
I want somebody to just do a Dragon's Lair style game. Just get Don Bluth up on the phone.
Yeah, totally. I'm sure.
Hey, can you help me do this? I'm doing this horror adventure game called The Gallery of Henri Beauchamp, and I need some artwork. It's like
specifically artwork that looks like it's made with blood and
no. I meant like
hello.
Yeah, that's the wrong way to say that.
Well. Interestingly enough, there is a video game that fans have made.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Based on this?
Did not do the research, apparently.
Really?
Really? Okay.
There's a link in the comments.
I didn't look at all the comments.
I don't know
which links to another version of the story in a different language, but it has screenshots from the video game that somebody made.
That's so crazy. Okay, we may have to look at that video game now. I'm curious. Okay.
Neat.
Fair enough. To be fair, a lot of ritual pastas do kind of lend themselves to be basically like the plot for a game, like for a video game.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways.
Yeah.
So my next note is, let's go here. Besides, I've heard that the dying complimented his drinks in their death throes. I don't really understand what that means specifically.
Could you repeat it?
Besides, I've heard... This is when you're talking about dying from it, and then it continues with this.
Yeah.
Besides, I've heard that the dying complimented his drinks in their death throes.
Okay, so I think what it is like, as they're dying, it's like, that was a really good drink. Oh, like basically, like it's like even though they're dying, like they like the drink is done served so well that it like they compliment that. Like it's kind of an insanity kind of thing.
So you die happy.
Yeah.
So the death throes are complimented. Like
by
the drink is complimented by the death throw.
Yeah, because death throes are like when you're thrashing around and like trying to grasp.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah,
so I understood the words. I just didn't understand what he was trying to get.
Yeah, I think it's like basically they are as they are dying, they are dying happy because the drink was so that good, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I would have understood it better if it was like, but I've heard that. Besides, I've heard that in your death throes, it complements the drinks.
Fair. Also, not to counter you there, gamer, but would that not been Grammar Inquisition?
It would have been, yeah. Yeah. That's how I would understand it better personally, but yes.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
I got one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, just in regards to the ending, the narrator is like specifically talking to whoever's reading. So is there like kind of a narrator at the end?
It kinda, yeah, a little bit,
but only at the end.
Yeah, it's almost like Deckard Cain is like, stay a while and listen to my tale. Like,
I guess,
like he's like letting you in on like it's like the story like opened up with like a narrator telling, or actually it kind of reminds me of a Frank Belknap Long story, which is usually done as like almost like a dialogue. Like the whole story is just one big dialogue.
Oh, then that means our grammar inquisitions mean nothing. It's all dialogue.
No. The story contradicts it enough that we can get around.
Oh, I see.
But the way they do it, the way Frank wrote his stories was like he was talking to a character and explaining to them what that happened in the story, like for the story.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of has that kind of leaning to it. Like you were saying, Mikey, it's a ritual pasta that actually has a narrative behind it. Mm-hmm. It's not just an instruction manual on how to do a thing.
I mean, it kind of is. It's just it's not put down in jot form. It's put down through
a story.
Yeah,
and that's what I mean. Like it's all there, like the manual, but it's done almost like isn't there like a game or something like that does that, where like it's basically an instruction manual. Oh, it's like some tabletop games, like they explain the rules through a story. Now, mind you, some of that can be good and some of that can be bad.
It's like playing a tutorial.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. That's all I got for notes.
Yeah, of course you would figure. Oh, it's like a tutorial, like for a video game.
Weird, right?
Yeah. All right, so I guess onto the kitchen segment. As I'm just going to take you guys for a second. So I'm going to use this quote first. So if you make it, maybe you can flip the canvas over and tell me sometime. You can tell me about it over a drink. Well, so reading this whole thing, this is 100% fodder for a Dreamhounds of Paris campaign. And for those of you not in the know, Dreamhounds of Paris is a Trail of Cthulhu settings campaign frame RPG. You play as 1920s Parisian surrealist artists using mythos magic and the dreamlands of H.P. Lovecraft's story universe in your artwork to change the world. And usually it's like you're either like surrealists that are trying to stop one of your friends or like colleagues from like ruining the earth because they're like affecting the dreamlands with their surrealist art. Mm-hmm. In this story specifically, like you could just take this the idea of somebody has taken the 13th painting like from the gallery and is using it as a way to end the world or something like that, and your surrealist artists are trying to like find out where the painting went and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like almost like a reverse heist game.
Yeah, kind of.
As far as ritual pastas go, there, like we said, there's definitely more of a narrative pull and plotted story here. And I mentioned it's almost like a choose your own adventure book. Especially with that ending line, like the character, like the narrator, the person giving us these instructions, just kind of breaks into a character and just like asks us, like, if you do this, like, hey, maybe you can tell me sometime. Who are you?
He didn't credit himself at all.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's just W-Antennastoheaven. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the basic scene beats are all there for to have a journey into this gallery. So even outside of like doing a Dreamhounds of Paris campaign with this as just the wholesale fodder for it, I also feel like this story could be used as like a seed to jump off onto another story. Like even write another story or like use it as a scenario, jumping off point for a scenario. Like what happens after you get to the gallery. Like kind of thing, like
because it just tells you how to get there, but not like the events that happen there
afterward. Like what are the consequences? Like,
apparently nothing, right?
Well, unless
if you do everything right,
we don't know. Yeah, well, I mean, nothing. There's no consequences to you to get there, but like once you get there, what are the consequences of being there and like seeing all this stuff? Like you've seen the true visage of God, you've seen the true visage of Satan, you've seen the true visage, you've seen the basically the popes of futures past, essentially, as well as like
this is all quotation.
Yeah, but I mean, you could have a story or a game where like somebody has gone to the gallery and is now like maybe assassinating people that he knows are going to be the popes, or like vice versa, like is going after the person that's going to be Jesus, like second coming kind of thing, or the Antichrist, and you swap that out. You make your investigators, if that's what you're running, if you're running it in a Call of Cthulhu game or like a horror scenario thing, you wait to the end or like near the end to reveal that like the person that they're trying to assassinate is not Jesus, it's the Antichrist.
Yeah.
So do you help them or do you hurt them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's come this far.
And then again, like just like have like maybe an art dealer has obtained the 13th painting and is driving his patrons mad by showing it, or like maybe the green lady and the bartender have like gotten like some other artists to come, like surrealists, say if we're doing a Dreamhound style. They basically they're the ones that like send the artists off to go find the 13th painting, and you guys have to go to like different art dealers and galleries that it's kind of been like popping up in to try and find it and try and find out who stole it. Yeah, that's basically kind of my kitchen stuff. It's just like reading this, I was like, wow, this is like straight out of the book of Dreamhounds of Paris. And I'm totally for it. Like I want to take this and just make a campaign out of this.
Yeah, I can see it.
But that's my kitchen work. That's my cooking. Do you guys have anything for the kitchen?
My kitchen thought that occurred to me when you were talking was this would sort of work as a heist.
Straight up, yeah.
Yeah.
Like literally the guy's explaining how do you get to the paintings, and
especially since apparently in the indie game scene, heist games are a thing now. Like are becoming more of a thing. Like not even just like using the regular systems like D&D and some of that. There's actually like whole art like indie RPGs like rules light systems that are out now just for doing a heist. Like there's like I think Leverage is one of them, and there's also like Honey Heist and like What Could Go Wrong. I believe are a couple of other ones. I'll leave in the description like some of them. But yeah, straight up, just like your artists who are like desperate for a muse and want to, and have heard of this Henri Beauchamp, and so you guys have decided, fuck it, we're all gonna go in and do this.
You don't even have to be artists. You could just be straight up thieves.
Yeah, just art thieves. Yeah, like art thieves are actually that would be really good. I could see that being done in Trail of Cthulhu, or using what is it called, Night's Black Agents, where you're basically anywhere from like Jason Bourne to again art thieves, like cat burglars and art thieves style like criminals, like basically career criminals that are like professionals in their fields that meet up against the supernatural. And in Night's Black Agents, it's usually vampires, but you can totally just like supplant vampires with something else. Yeah. Something other supernatural. Oh, hell, maybe it is vampires. Maybe the kiss from the Green Lady is actually just like kind of a reverse, like maybe they're talent vampires or like psychic talent vampires. And like the kiss is actually like something that basically they do to like kind of imbue, like almost like how vampires make Renfields, where they like give them a little taste of their power, basically. So maybe it's something like that. So yeah, I like that idea of just the heist game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
That is a perfect, magnifique idea.
That's pretty much what I had wrote down too.
Okay.
But like through the story itself is through the eyes of a thief. Like he's been sitting down, he's been going to this bar and like taking notes on these people trying to get through to Beauchamp. Okay, and like how they keep dying. It's like, okay, no, he died when he did that. Okay. And he's like, this is his entire note.
Also going insane because he's like, they go up like to like like I see like several floors, but this building only has 2 floors.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Like he's tried getting in from the roof, like he's like parachuted in or something like that,
yeah.
Or like hopped a couple of roofs to get into from the top. But there's like nothing on the roof side, like it just doesn't go there. It actually doesn't go to like the physical space. So like he breaks in, it's just like an empty storage room or a dusty empty storage room.
It's magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the long and short I got for that.
Cool. So I guess on to final thoughts. On its own, I did enjoy the narrative and imagery, and I feel like it's an all right ritual pasta because it is both grounded in a real place, Paris, and deals with familiar things like 1920s artists and how crazy they were.
In Absinthe.
Yeah.
That's maybe not familiar to us.
Absinthe, maybe it is playing on the whole hallucinogenic legend, not legend or rumor, because some people have like gotten like seen things when they had absinthe, but like basically like they ground this with like or like familiarized it with like something real. So yeah, maybe this is all just like a hallucinatory thing.
Yeah.
But also it's innocuous enough so some dummy can't find a concrete location and follow these steps like letter for letter and stupidly follow a ritual pasta, as is some people's want to do, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Like I feel like this is actually one of those, like it's a ritual pasta that is pretty much harmless because it is so fantastical.
Yeah.
So yeah, for fodder, or if you're into ritual pastas, yeah, I recommend. So yeah.
It's also harmless because the entire start of it is just asking for a glass of absinthe.
Yeah.
Which is just alcohol.
Yeah.
So it's
and
not like...
you're not actually going to find a bartender who's poisoning. Well, you might. That could actually... they could go down a dark road too, but yeah. But yeah, no, otherwise, yeah, it's fairly harmless, like ritual pasta, and if you like those kind of stories, like that kind of narrative, and like if you want something for like a Dreamhounds of Paris campaign, yeah, read the Gallery of Henri Beauchamp. It's a good time. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Mikey, these stands for you.
Alright, so it is a ritual pasta, but it is nicer than some. Like, you brought up that it's almost like 11 miles.
Yeah.
In
like
regards to that, you actually get a bit of a story about what's happening in each stage, and it's not just do this, do this, do this. It's do this, because if you don't do that...
this will happen, yeah. Many have tried, and many have died.
So that's where it gets points. It has more of a narrative, because it's in more descriptive words, so that makes it nice. I like sort of suddenly you're transported to another dimension as soon as you drink it.
Well, yeah. I mean, that could also just be the absinthe.
Yeah. The only real downside to it is a downside for most ritual pastas that there's nothing really scary or threatening.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely threats in the story.
Yeah, but...
the threat of death is, like, a constant.
Yeah, repeated.
Yeah, but, I mean, just the whole, like, at the end of the day, was I creeped out by the story? Not really.
Fair.
Like, the creepiest thing is essentially the fact that there's paintings made of blood and
bile.
Yeah.
I do feel like with creepypastas, like, there are ones that are creepy, like, actually genuinely, like, creep me out, and, like, I get freaked out from them. And then there are ones that I'm not creeped out at all. Like, I'm not going to pretend that I was creeped out at all by the story. But I love the idea, the concept provided in the story, and that's what wins me over. Like, so, yeah, from a creepy side, it doesn't do its job, but from a good, like, like, I acknowledge it is supposed to be creepy, but I'm not scared of it. So, yeah, like, I feel like it teeters that line of, like, not creepy, but, like, it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Would you want to go to the gallery and go through all this to do it?
Fuck no.
Then you're creeped out by it.
No, because I'm a sane person, but... although...
But overall, it was entertaining, and there are much worse ways to spend your time, because it is a short pasta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
okay.
That's my recommendation.
I'll be basically mirroring you guys. They made a video game based off it, so it has to be somewhat good, right? Because someone put that time in to make whatever that video game is.
You say that?
What?
But Jeff the Killer has a video game.
Does he?
Yeah.
He doesn't deserve one. Why? Internet, why?
Like, there are not to, like, throw too much shame at, like, the stuff we love, the stuff I like to read, but there are bad creepypastas that get video games because somebody loved it enough to make it something.
I suppose. Either way.
Yeah.
This one didn't stumble too much. Even that one grammar-related thing, I didn't even read.
It was just the perfect, like, error.
Yes, it was, because it specifically said, this next line is going to be
I
flawless.
almost wonder if it was intentional.
Was it a joke? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But either way,
Mm-hmm.
it's short. It does, you don't stumble through it. I'm basically mirroring what you guys said, because I 100% agree. It was a good story. It was an enjoyable ritual pasta. It wasn't bland.
Wow,
So,
that's 2 episodes in a row
What?
that we've had. It was like there's not much to say other than it was really good.
It's almost like we're all the same person.
No, we're not.
What? We aren't?
What?
We're triplets, though.
We're just 3
have
heads.
hive
On,
mind.
we're just 3 heads on one person.
Yeah, of course. There's your title card.
Damn it. I'm just gonna do a painterly version. Like that's what's on the other side of that picture frame.
Oh.
It's just the 3 of us, like a 3-headed version of us.
There you go, yeah.
Henri Beauchamp in the 1920s. So it's like, I've had a horrible vision of a 3-headed monstrosity of nature who constantly criticize and discuss these creepy stories on this interwebs.
This inside web.
This interconnected web
Yes.
by some spider. I must paint it with my own flesh.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, wow, yeah, that's gotta be the fucking paint, the title card now. God damn you.
There you go.
Alright. Well, that was this week's episode. If you liked what you heard, or if you didn't, leave it in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. We're all on Twitter in various degrees.
Some more than others.
Yeah, I think I'm probably the most permanent resident of Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm at Review Cultist. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. And the Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow, but without that W because his name is too damn long.
It really is.
You can also send us messages and emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas or ritual pastas or SCPs or what have you. Anything that's most creepy and most pasta on the internet. Like, just send them to us. Please. We're lonely.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll discuss it on the show. Yeah.
Flawless. It might, yeah.
If you'd like to help support the show financially, you can go to Patreon, look up Al Dente Rigamortis, and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $5 and $2 tiers currently, with special episodes, extra content, early access, all that stuff. For our patrons that are helping support the show, thank you guys immensely. Seriously. I know we say this every episode, but I feel like we don't say it enough. Without you guys, we wouldn't our hosting bills would be over flooding us and we'd be dead. So thank
It
you.
would kill us for real.
Yes. We'd die. For real.
Totally.
No, like seriously, like it really helps with the hosting bills and we really much appreciate that. You guys should talk to us more. Like we never hear from you. We just get that check-in at the end of the month. Like, seriously guys, comment more.
Speaking of, we have a Discord.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, and yeah, if you're a patron of us, you can get access to our Discord channel, where you can actually talk to us and like see all the nightmare fuel that we have on a certain image channel on there. So, and for our listeners that are already helping, that are just listening to us, thank you guys immensely, because without you guys, we wouldn't have much of an audience, and that would suck. And to the authors of these stories, thank you, because you gave me something to read every week for 5 years plus now. And I really appreciate that, personally. I don't know about you guys.
Varying degrees of appreciation.
Yeah.
Depending on how Spyro.exe it is.
Yeah, I mean, like, again... Like,
that being said, like, I can't shit on anyone, regardless of how much we like or hate something. It still deserves to be there.
To do something.
Yeah.
That's where our hearts come from, where our criticisms and our discussions come from. It's from a place of understanding. Like, we know that somebody did like put the work into this, and now we're going to give it the treatment it deserves, or the treatment that we feel like after reading it, like how we appreciate it. So, thank you guys. If you'd like to help support the show in another way, we have Redbubble. So we have our logos on a ton of stuff, from clocks to shower curtains. I just so funny, like the shower curtains.
It's their most ridiculous one.
We also got pillows and t-shirts, stickers and all that stuff. Like, yeah, go check that out. We also have a new podcast called One Less Die. If you guys liked some of those actual play Rigamortis games we've run, we do other things other than just straight horror and like Cthulhu stuff or Creepypasta stuff. We also do Shadowrun and Call of Cthulhu games and other systems that I've dragged my players into playing in. So, yeah, you can go check that out at One Less Die on Podbean or other streaming channels. So go check that out. Wow, this has been a long-winded outro. I'm going to cut it now. That is this week's episode. I have been Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the East Ends are evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
This has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well. You're going to need it for next week.
Da, da, da.